Hello folks, in this episode, changing the rear brake pads on the GS. Just like changing the front brake pads, changing the rear is a simple enough job that you do not need to go to a garage to do. All you need to do, follow this short tutorial, and if you like the video, hit the like button and maybe even give that old subscribe button a little tickle. Let's get to it. The tools that you're going to need will be a pair of long nose pliers, a T40 hex, a T30 hex, an old toothbrush, a wire brush and a torque wrench which is able to do 13 Newton meters. You might also need an old flat-headed screwdriver and something to put your bits in. Okay folks, so the first thing we need to do is remove the rear mudguard. To do that, T30 and then just gently crack those off. You've got 3 bolts and remove the mudguard. Items like this, which I will be taking off now and then, when I put them back on, I will be putting a bit of copper grease, and you can see some copper grease in there. Take the rear mudguard off, put that to one side, out your way. Next thing you need to do, remove the 2 clips. And then the retaining pin. I find the T30 hex bit, put it on, gently knock it, and it helps get it out. As you can see, it's got quite corroded, so that'll need a good clean up and some either copper grease, or I tend to use lithium grease just to protect it. We'll do that later. You've got 2 bolts down here, which is your T40s. So unclip the ABS sensor there. Now the whole brake pad unit should just lift off. Remove the old pads. Now get the toothbrush in and clean up the inside in here. Get rid of all the old build-up of dust, trying not to breathe that in because it's not pleasant stuff. Now gently, if you can, push your pistons back. If you can't push your pistons back, what you might need to do, get an old brake pad, place it back in, same with the other side, so that your old pistons, old pads are like that. Then using your screwdriver, gently push. There we go. Easy. The reason you're pushing the pistons back is because otherwise you won't have the room when you fit the new pad in. Again, just continue giving it a clean up, getting rid of as much brake dust as you can, like that. There you go, much better. What you can do is put the whole assembly back together. So the brake assembly itself, put that back into place. With the bolts, I just give them a little bit of copper grease just to stop them from seizing up. And then you need to torque those two bolts up to 24 Newton meters. 24. There we go, 24 Newton meters. When you're finished with your torque wrenches, it is imperative you slacken them right off. They'll last you a lot longer that way. So before I put the pads back in, I'm just going to clean up the pad retaining pin. Okay, the next thing to do, put the pads in. The way I tend to do it, and it is only just the way I do it, the pad which is furthest away from me, so on the right hand side of the brake disc, goes in first. Like that. What I then do is I then get the retaining pin, feed the retaining pin in partially, enough to hold that pad in, then get the other pad from this side, feed that one in, then holding that pad with my left hand, and in this case my left thumb, feed the retaining pin through, like that. Now get one of your R clips, put that in there. The other retaining clip goes in the other side. There we go. So that's the other retaining pin in. And that way your brake pads won't move. Now we've got the pads back in, put the ABS sensor cable retainer back up. I then get my bolts for the mudguard, give them a quick clean up, add a little bit of copper grease, like that. I've not over tightened those two yet because I'm going to put all three in place first and then just tighten them up. Torque setting for these three is 8 Newton meters. So that's all. That was just finger tight and that's already at 8. So it doesn't take a great deal and you don't need to be hanging off these. Now before riding, what I would say next thing to do is pump the rear brake, because to get the new pads in, you've had to put the pistons back into their housing. There we are folks, rear brakes done. Hope you've enjoyed it. Keep safe, but most importantly, keep rubber side down.